HarperCollins presents The Fall and Rise of the Amir Sisters by Nadiya Hussain and Aisha Malik. Read by Avita Jay. "I want to be an archaeologist," I said. "You can't be an archaeologist. Your parents are not rich enough. It will be a miracle if you make it to university." I didn't become an archaeologist or go to university. I did something else. I remembered her words and followed every dream. Unkind words bloom the unlikeliest of passions. This is dedicated to the dreamer in you. Chapter 1. Farah liked bustling around. She was perpetually busy when not at her job, her hands at work on a curry, washing clothes, fluffing pillows, and inspecting areas of her now smaller home. At least it's easier to manage. She was going to be positive. She paused to try and listen for what Mustafa might be doing upstairs. Maybe he was still lying in bed. It was 10 o'clock in the morning, but his sleeping habits were never predictable anymore. Or perhaps he was just looking out of the window, like he'd taken to doing. There was a time when she'd have asked what he was thinking. Now she wasn't sure whether she wanted to know. He came downstairs, managing to grunt a good morning as he opened the fridge. "Why is it stacked with so much stuff?" he asked. Farah was spraying pledge onto the coffee table, wiping it down with a cloth. "For the sandwiches I'm making for Mae's party later," she replied. His brows furrowed as he snapped, "Where's the mango juice?" Farah swept into the kitchen and looked inside the fridge with him. It must have been finished. He slammed the door shut, and she jumped. "For God's sake! You have the thing heaving with stuff for Mae, but no mango juice." She folded her arms and clenched her jaw, looking up at him. Her husband was a stranger to her in these moments because, before the accident, in all the years they'd been married, he'd never lost his temper with her, or anyone for that matter. It hadn't yet failed to surprise her when his mood took a turn. He opened the fridge door once more and slammed it shut again. His face was enraged as he glowered at her, but she didn't move an inch. She waited. He stood there for a few more moments before thundering out of the room, and she heard him slam the front door behind him. Farah took a deep breath, because the last thing she needed was increased blood pressure. "My husband is alive." She repeated this to herself every time she thought of him lying in his coma after the car accident. He had been punished enough for his mistake. Mustafa had crashed his car after finding out that her brother Jay had lost all of the money he was supposed to be investing in their business, and now here they were, living with the consequences of Mustafa's ongoing medication. The doctors had said it'd affect his moods, to be careful of him falling into a kind of depression, but Farah couldn't quite separate the man from the drugs. Aside from that, this little flat wasn't theirs. She missed the open spaces of their 5-bedroom semi-detached place. Farah liked having a guest room in case one of her sisters wanted to spend the night, or they had family or friends visiting. She took comfort from the idea that there was another room that would make the perfect nursery, but she had to let go of that dream anyway. Looking around the small living room, the light wooded laminate flooring, wallpaper they couldn't afford to change and paint instead, apart from her parents, who had wallpaper now anyway. She took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and opened them again. Still, there were things to be grateful for. Being alive was one of them. When Mustafa returned an hour later, he came into the kitchen. She pretended not to notice him as she made a start on the sandwiches. "You can feel summer coming to an end," he said. She ignored him. "Can I help?" he asked. She got the butter out of the fridge and slammed the door shut, pointedly looking at him. "What do you think?" His face fell. The way he looked at her always reminded her of Jay.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?